Howdy whiskey folks, it's Whiskey Web here, and today I have Glenmorangie for you. Now you may have this question sometimes, which is what rhymes with orange, and people will say there's no such word that rhymes with orange, but one that's pretty close is Glenmorangie. So if you ever seen this distillery, it's not Glenmorangie or anything like that. Just think more orangey, because it is more orangey than most other whiskies. So Glenmorangie, more orange-y. And yeah, I was doing a little Instagram live or YouTube session with a guy called Brian Simpson recently, and he's the ambassador for Glenmorangie and Ardbeg, which are two distilleries owned by Louis Vuitton. So if you're ever buying a fancy handbag, make sure you pick up a bottle of Ardbeg and Glenmorangie too. Yeah, it was a great time. He's a very knowledgeable guy, great whiskey personality, and he very kindly sent us a bottle of this new whiskey, which is available in Canada and America. I think if you're in the UK, then you're out of luck, but if you're on the New World side of the pond, then you can pick this up for about $135 Canadian at the moment. So yeah, here it is. The reason we did this session with Bry is because there's a lot of crossover between what we're doing here at Shelter Point Distillery and what Glenmorangie have done with this whiskey. Now this whiskey is all barley from one farm, and it's very near the distillery in a place called Cadboll Estate. And right at the centre of this 440 acre farm is Glenmorangie House. So this land's owned by the distillery. So it's about the same size as the farm here at Shelter Point. Our farm's almost 400 acres as well. And we're both trying to do this terroir thing. Us with the Malt whiskey and Glenmorangie with this Cadboll estate kind of whiskey. So great crossover between the New World and the Old World. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to try this whiskey for you guys and tell you all about it. A deep and creamy finish. 15 years in ex-Bourbon casks. And I see here actually, like on the box, it says crafted by the 16 Men of Tain. And I remember back in the day, like one of the first whiskies that got me into Scotch in the first place was the Glenmorangie 10-year-old. And it had like the 16 Men of Tain written on the bottom. They got rid of it for a while, but it's nice to see that reference to the past back there. In terms of the barley, I'm not sure what variety it was, but it's probably Concerto Optic, something like that. And yeah, straight up bourbon. I like that because it's apparently the farm of the Wildcats too, so it's got a reference to some wildcat action up in the northeast of Scotland. So Glenmorangie, they've been the masters of finishing in different types of casks, like wine casks, sauterne, that kind of thing. And they do have a Glenmorangie Cadboll that was finished in a French oak cask, and this one I think was a travel exclusive. But this one I'm glad to see is actually just a straight up ex-Bourbon whiskey. A bit like the 10-year-old Glenmorangie, which I'm so fond of. And right away, hints of orange. So there you go, more orangey. But almond, barley sugars, oregano, or oregano, depending on where you are. But there's an intense, creamy butteriness to this whiskey. Just, it's like, I think it would go very well with a lemon meringue pie. A lot of citrus, floral notes. And part of the reason why you get that with Glenmorangie is because of these. Now you may be wondering what this creature is next to this Glenmorangie still, but it's actually a giraffe. that's my attempt at a giraffe, so no laughing please. This is a very serious demonstration of how tall these Glenmorangie stills. So the total height of the still is 26 feet. The average height of a giraffe, a fully grown giraffe, is 18 foot, which is the size of the neck here. So these are officially the tallest stills used by any Scotch malt distillery. And yeah, you can see with this long neck, like a giraffe, that you're going to get just the purest, lightest aromas and vapors getting over the still. And that's an enormous copper contact time as you go up there, like tons and tons of copper contact. So not much oiliness, not much heaviness, just a very light, floral, citrusy spirit. And that's what Glenmorangie is famous for. And this is very evident in this whiskey here, the Cadboll 15-year-old. So I do apologise for that image of a giraffe, but it's the best I got. More into whiskey than drawing. Okay, now for the palate. Sweet, fruity, floral, nutty. The ABV on this one, 43%. So I'm guessing it's probably chill filtered. So it doesn't have a lot of weight on the palate, but the flavour's great. It's quite a big distillery, Glenmorangie. It's about 6 million litres of pure alcohol a year, and they're just about to add 2 new stills as well in 2020, so they're currently expanding. And you go into this like hall of stills, it's just like a cathedral of stills. It's like a wonderful place to visit. You get this whole, it's almost like you're speaking to still gods or something like that. You know, you're surrounded by these beautiful tall stills, and they make you feel like you're little, like in a cathedral. You get that feeling when you go in a cathedral with the really high ceilings. So that's kind of what you get in the Glenmorangie still house. And that's because they're making the whiskey of the gods. They're making wonderful water of life. People like Brian Simpson are great ambassadors for distilleries with such high quality like Glenmorangie, Ardbeg. And in fact, this is the most sought after single malt in Scotland, Glenmorangie. Yeah, they drink more of this stuff than any other single malt, and there's a good reason why. So if you're ever out and about, check out Glenmorangie 15 if you get the chance. I highly recommend it. I really like what they're doing with the terroir thing and all the great innovations they have there. I mean, they also have like an anaerobic digestion plant, so they're trying to capture all this like waste energy and then use that to make the distillery more efficient. So great place, really beautiful part of the world up there in the northeast of Scotland. They all speak a bit funny, but you know, they're great, lovely people. So to everyone at Glenmorangie, to Brian Simpson, and all you Glenmorangie fans out there, cheers, Slàinte mhath.